Golden Opportunities is paid for by Elder Productions. Golden Opportunities is paid for by Elder Productions.
Hello, I'm Lori Steiner. Welcome to Golden Opportunities.
Today, immunizations are essential. We'll tell you why. Then, if leaving the work world has you worried, we'll help calm your financial fears. Feeling run down? The answer may be you're anemic. We'll prescribe help. Plus, older, wiser, and worry-free? We'll add up the ways to make the most of your Act 3. And recent Medicaid rule changes bring new challenges. We'll update you on the alarming additions.
It's time to get you going, so pull up a chair and join us at our kitchen table for Golden Opportunities. When you hear the word vaccine, you probably think it only relates to your grandchildren. But the truth is it's important for adults to keep up to date with their immunizations as well. Dr. Robert Reznicki is here to tell us why. Dr. Reznicki is the Chief Medical Officer for Medical Mutual of Ohio. Welcome back to the show.
Thank you so much.
So aren't we past the age of vaccines?
Well, Lori, some things you're just never too old for, and vaccines is one of them. And it's very important that you keep up with vaccines, not just for yourself, but for the people around you. Because if you get it, you can pass it along to somebody else that might not have been able to receive the vaccine.
That's true. And I bet treating it is much harder than preventing it to begin with.
Absolutely. We always think prevention is the way to go.
All right. So if we do need to have vaccines, what are the vaccines we need to get?
Well, I guess if I were a politician, I would say it depends.
And lawyers say that too.
And it really does in this case depend, because it depends upon what you've had before, how old you are, whether or not you can tolerate certain vaccines. So it really can depend. And so we ask people to go to the CDC website, get some information, and then to share that information with their doctor.
Okay, so we put that website up on the screen for our viewers to be able to know where to go, so that's good advice.
Sure. And now it's also important not only to know what you're supposed to get, but what you've had. So it's key that you either download a record from this website that you can then print in and fill in all the information, or you get one from your doctor, because it's important that you take the vaccines when you're supposed to, but not take them if you don't need them.
And you got to keep that record with you from doctor to doctor, huh?
Absolutely, because naturally you transfer your care over a period of time, and so you need to do that.
Okay, so what are the ones for us of a certain age?
Yeah, so like a good interviewer, you're pushing me on this, huh? You're not going to settle for it depends.
You're right,
so
and
you
we got to know what those are.
You want to know what you're supposed to take, yeah. And so the first one that we recommend is the flu shot, and that's an annual vaccine that you should be getting. Now, for pneumonia, there are 2 vaccines, and it's important that you get both of those vaccines, and so you need to keep track of that and go over that with your doctor.
Okay.
Shingles is another one that's very important for older adults to get. It can produce a terrible rash that's blistering, and more importantly than that, it can produce pain that lasts for weeks, months, or even years. You don't eliminate the risk of that, but you significantly lessen it if you get that shingles vaccine.
Okay.
And then another important one is tetanus, and most of us try to get a tetanus shot every 10 years. And if you haven't had a booster that includes pertussis, which we all know is whooping cough. If you haven't had that, you should get that one-time booster for the pertussis as well.
Okay, well, good list. Now, if we're going to keep up to date on all of these shots, though, doesn't that become expensive?
Well, one of the things that's happened over time is that the insurance companies and the Affordable Care Act have stressed the importance of prevention. Why we didn't do this generations ago, I don't know. But now we do stress prevention, and many of these vaccines are available for no cost. If there is a cost with them, it is significantly reduced and largely covered by the insurance.
All right, great. Now, the vaccine, I know you can get them at the doctor's office or at the pharmacy. Does it matter? Is it the same vaccine?
It's the same vaccine, and over time, at least in the state of Ohio, we have liberalized the amount of vaccines and the types of vaccines that druggists can prescribe. They're very well trained and able to give those. The trick, though, is that some are covered by your medical insurance, some are covered by your pharmacy benefit. So what I recommend is go to the CDC, find out what you're supposed to get, which ones you've had, talk to your doctor, and then you do need to make a couple calls, both to the drugs, to your pharmacy benefit, or to the medical benefit, and see which ones are covered by which, and then you go from there.
Okay, great. Consider Dr. Reznicki's healthy dose of advice the shot of courage you need to update your immunizations. It's important for your well-being and for those around you. My thanks to Dr. Reznicki for joining us today.
Find out more about Medical Mutual of Ohio by visiting www.medmutual.com/go or call 1-844-606-5387. Next, look before you leap into retirement. But first, in 2020, women from the suffragette movement will be featured on the $10 bill, just in time for the 100th anniversary of the 19th Amendment, granting women the right to vote. But they aren't the first famous females to be captured on currency. Bet you can't name the others. We'll cash in with the answer when we return.
Let's all wake up to better health. Breathe it in and let it all out. Find a partner, an ally, a Metro Health doctor who will listen as long as it takes, so you can celebrate every day by living it your way. Get your physical, checkup, regular screening at Metro Health, and wake up every day to better health. Change is healthy.
Pocahontas and Susan B. Anthony were captured on coins, but the first Lady, Martha Washington, appeared on paper in the 1880s and 90s, the $1 silver certificate.
There should be a title for the fear so many people feel as they approach retirement. Maybe we could call it RAS, Retirement Anxiety Syndrome. But even without an official name, Jim Lineweaver can recognize the symptoms and prescribe a few options to overcome it. Jim is a certified financial planner professional with the Lineweaver Financial Group. So welcome back to the show.
Hey, good to see you.
Now you say the onset of these symptoms start just before retirement and just after, correct?
Yes, and although I'm not going to go back to school to get a psychology degree, hopefully my CFP will help out in this manner. But needless to say, yes, you know, people have worked all their life. They've saved for their future, tried to have a good balance between work and life and social things. And all of a sudden, though, when you make that bridge and you jump into retirement, now that paycheck stops. Maybe you get some other pension, Social Security coming in, but now you have to rely on your assets to provide that lifestyle that you need. It's a total mind shift change, and a lot of people have a lot of anxiety over that next chapter in their life.
Well, isn't it kind of normal to be anxious over such a big change in life?
It is, because one of your biggest fears is, one, you don't want to go back to work, I'm sure, if you work long and hard and you think you've done things right. Other people may choose to, just from a social aspect, but needless to say, the biggest fears are, am I going to run out of money? And especially with things that can pop up in the future that are your unforeseen circumstances, you got to make sure you're well prepared for that.
So you really have to plan. So what do we need to do? What are we looking at to make sure we've got it all covered?
Well, one of the best things to do is really come up with a budget. And what you want to really do is look at all the expenses and everything that you're, laying out. And you're not going to be putting money into that 401k anymore. And so certain expenses will go away, but other things will be added on. And when you look at that, you can't ignore healthcare. Healthcare is one of the biggest expenses that people face. As a matter of fact, only 20% of the employers that are out there, or 1 in every 6, actually provide some type of health care and retirement. So there's very little people that are covering that. And the average expense for a 65-year-old for the next 20 years is going to spend about $220,000 just in health care alone. So it's a huge expense. But what I always encourage people to do is try to live on your budget or fixed expenses for 2 years before you retire to see how tight that belt is. Maybe you can stretch that retirement out a couple years or make some other adjustments and changes.
So you know what you're facing, so you know how to plan for that.
Exactly.
So I'm starting to feel a little anxious myself, you know, but I understand the budgeting. I think that's important, but we don't know how long we're going to live. So how do you even know what to do?
Yeah, some people throw out there like, well, just take a 4% consumption rate off your portfolio and live on that, and it should be able to stay ahead of inflation. But with low interest rates today, that's not going to cut it unless you're in a well-diversified portfolio. But you should probably go see a professional out there, like a certified financial planning professional, because they'll have software and things that can really pull into all the details, taxes, inflation, your Social
And things
Security,
you might forget
into
if
that.
you're trying to think about
Exactly.
yourself.
Much more comprehensive. But there's also something that we have created. It's called a retirement scorecard. And what that does is, I brought it here for your viewers, they can actually log right onto our website and actually take this test. But what it is, it's a scorecard that's going to see if you're prepared for retirement. And it covers not only the financial issues, it covers risk issues, it covers the mental and some of these anxiety issues. So there's a lot of different things that are covered in this, and it's going to measure how well you might be prepared for retirement, or if you're already in retirement, it can really help out as well.
Okay, and that's on your website?
Yes.
All right. Conquer retirement anxiety syndrome before it affects you. Follow Jim's advice, and for more information, give him a call. The number's next.
For more information, call the Lineweaver Financial Group at 1-888-313-4009 or click to www.lineweaver.net. Next, we'll run down the reasons why you're run down. Looking for places to go, things to do? Welcome to our community calendar. There's a healthy dose of information and activities at the 2016 UH Bedford Medical Center Senior Network Wellness Expo. The expo will be held at the Solon Community Center and Solon Senior Center Wednesday, September 28th from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. There will be free health screenings, information booths, and great giveaways. Plus, you can choose to sample several soups and chili. For more information, just give a quick call, 440-735-3711.
Welcome to Metro Health Studio. We're changing things up because, as Metro Health says, change is healthy. In each show, we'll be on location here to talk with an expert about medical issues that concern you. For instance, you're run down and feel tired all the time. Have you overdone it, or is it something else? Dr. Noha Dardir is here to help identify the onset of anemia and what that means for older adults. Dr. Dardir is in the Family Medicine Department with Metro Health. Welcome to the show.
Hi, thanks for having me.
So shouldn't we be more tired as we age? Isn't that pretty normal?
Some of it is normal, so some senior might have to cut down on some of their activity as they get older. Some might just continue to do the same thing with no cutting down. But what we are talking about is out of the ordinary. So if things you are used to do seems a lot more tiring to you than normal, so different than your baseline. So we are talking about anemia.
Okay, so tell us, what is anemia?
Anemia is a low blood cell count, red blood cell count, and the red blood cell normally carries the oxygen in your body through your whole body. So that's what pretty much anemia is.
Okay, so how do you diagnose anemia?
Anemia is normally diagnosed with a simple blood test, so it's a blood cell count, and it's normally part of your annual physical.
Okay, so the doctor should be checking it all the time. So if the doctor finds there is anemia, how is that treated?
There is different kind of anemia. The most common anemia we find is iron deficiency anemia, and it can be treated with oral iron supplement. Sometimes it takes 6 months to rebuild your red blood cell count back, but anemia can be normal in some chronic condition like heart disease, kidney disease, diabetes. If you are a senior with no medical problem and we see anemia, then we have to look for underlying conditions.
Okay, so what if it's anemia and you're looking for something else that could be causing that, and you don't actually have any chronic issues?
Okay.
You know, what do you do then with something like that?
Then we have to look into other testing. One of the most common things we worry about in a senior with anemia with no underlying condition will be blood loss. So we normally worry about colon cancer, one of the big things, so we normally recommend a colonoscopy, which is a preventive measure that we do at age 50, but a lot of patients don't schedule it. So if we see anemia, we definitely have to do this. And then we look at other tests to see any underlying cause of blood loss.
So a colonoscopy going up, how about going down? And endoscopy, is that it?
That too. So we do both. It depends on how level the anemia is, how severe it is, and if we truly sure it's iron deficiency anemia, then colonoscopy and upper endoscopy is recommended.
Okay. And once you figure it out, then you can go about getting rid of the anemia.
Definitely.
All right.
Treat the underlying cause.
Okay. Good information. If you're feeling unusually run down, you may want to run over to your doctor and be tested for anemia. As Dr. Dardir noted, anemia can indicate a more serious issue, one that should be addressed probably as soon as possible. To learn more, use the information that's coming up next. My thanks to Dr. Dardir for joining us today in the Metro Health studio.
To learn more, call Metro Health at 216-778-7800 or log on to www.metrohealth.org. Up next, an Act 3 worthy of applause. It's time to get up and go, an exercise segment on golden opportunities.
Hey everybody, it's Mike Carbon from Breakout Fitness, and today we're going to show you how to strengthen those ever-important shoulder muscles. You ready to go?
I am absolutely ready to go.
Let's do it. We have exercise bands here. This is called a front raise using our exercise band. What we're going to do is we're going to step on the center of the band. Okay, we want to again offset our feet so that way we make sure we stay nice and balanced. Maintain very good posture. All we're going to do is simply bring the handle of the band up to about shoulder height and then lower it back down to your thigh, okay? Again, we're looking for 15 to 20 repetitions on this one. Use slow and controlled movements and make sure you're breathing. How you feeling, Lori?
Oh, that's tough.
That's a good one.
Yeah,
and
that's
actually,
a good
Lori
one.
is doing a very good variation of this exercise where she's using both arms together. So you can do either individually or like Lori's doing here, you can do them both together.
Cut time in half.
That's right, fantastic. All right, everybody, 12 to 15, 2 to 3 sets. And now it's your turn to get up and go.
For your copy of the exercise booklet, send $1 for postage to Golden Opportunities, 6105 Parkland Boulevard, Suite 140, Mayfield Heights, Ohio, 44124.
Our Act 3, that time of life after retiring, can offer many possibilities, but too often we aren't ready, willing, or able to take advantage of them. Scott Page has some advice for preparing for this new prime time of life. Scott is a financial expert and the author of It's Never Too Late, Getting Older, Wiser, and Worry-Free in Our Golden Years. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's such a pleasure to be back in Cleveland.
Oh, yeah, I hear you're from Cleveland originally.
I am, and you know, I arrived and I'm just so impressed with what your city has done. It's vibrant, it's clean, it's wonderful, everyone's friendly, and it's a beautiful day, so it's a thrill to be back in
And
Cleveland.
we're proud of Cleveland, too. So, we've had other segments, even earlier in the show, about planning financially as you age. But you talk about a holistic approach. So what exactly do you mean by that?
Yes, you know, there's a lot of people, as you know, that talk about financial, and it's a critical element to retirement, but there's also a holistic approach, which is making sure you have the right attitude, that you surround yourself with positive people, that you remain active, and that you always try to find good in things. I think there's, you know, so many people find the negativity, and it's such a bad drain on you that you want to remove stress and focus on the good. There's so much out there to find.
Yeah, and one of the first things you say to clients is, we are all going to get old and we're all going to die.
Yes.
So that doesn't sound enjoyable in with that, you know, what you're trying to do holistically.
It does, and it's almost like a splash of cold water in your face, but it's a wake-up call. You know, Benjamin Franklin put it best. The only guarantee in life is death and taxes. And I think once we become aware of our own mortality, we can start planning for it. And planning for it is critically important. Be able to declutter all the fear. And I think in America, you're afraid to talk about death because it will come. But unfortunately, with reality, it will come, and we need to plan for it.
And you saw this with your own family, right?
I did see it with my own family. I lost a brother who had a terminal illness, and my family was kicking and screaming the whole entire time. I kept talking about, let's discuss this, let's talk about it, let's get it out on the table.
And it was the most enlightening experience because my brother got to actually participate in what he wanted in his wake. We pre-planned his funeral. We saved over $8,000 by negotiating with the funeral home versus going in emotionally distraught.
Yeah, say, whatever, I want the best.
Yes, you never ever want to go or leave that to a loved one. You know, pre-planning is the most generous gift you can give a loved one.
Okay, how about your dad? How'd you help him?
Well, you know, my father gave his life to Bethlehem Steel. He worked there for 40 years. And at his retirement party, it was bittersweet because 3 days later, Bethlehem Steel filed bankruptcy. He lost his health insurance, he lost his pension, and spiraled into a severe depression along with my mother. But through patience and persistency, I was able to help them look at the bright side of life. I was able to put them on a plan and help them get their life decluttered, which really opened themselves up to new opportunities.
Okay, so get rid of that stuff that's holding you back and maybe even decide to work again?
Yes, and you know, that's also a key. You know, seniors are completely different than retirement was 50 years ago. Seniors want to remain active and vibrant as an employer. Seniors are now moving to the top of the list for candidates for jobs.
Wow.
They're responsible, they show up in time, then they have such a wealth of knowledge and experience. That's fantastic things that they can offer, and they need to get out and do so.
But you have to be in good health for that.
You do have to be in good health for that. You know, there's $1 billion exercise and diet industry out there when it really boils down to two simple things. Eat less, move more. Take care of yourself. Keep your mind active, keep your body active, stay social. Get out there and enjoy life. There's so much opportunity there.
Yeah. Get outside, do all those things. And you're actually taking a page from your book yourself, right? You're starting some new venture as you move forward.
Actually, I have partnered with a new group called the Golden Opportunity Network. Not to be confused with your show, not to be confused with the show. They're a group of professionals who spent their lives being advocates for seniors and terminally ill individuals. And they have a host of resources that can help seniors unlock finances, to find wealth at places they never thought, services that they need. They're a great partner for us, and actually, they've agreed to give away a free copy of my new book to anyone that goes to their website or gives them a call.
Excellent. All right, we know people will be doing that. The way Scott sees it, when you face the fact that all of us will die, you can open yourself up to planning to live your best life possible. For more ideas and details, pick up Scott's book or go online and call him and get it for free. It's never too late. Getting older, wiser, and worry-free in our golden years. My thanks to Scott Page for joining us today.
It's a pleasure being here. Thank you.
To learn more or to buy Scott's book, visit www.scottpage.com. Next, getting Medicaid help is getting harder.
Hilltop Village Apartments is retirement living at its best. Residents enjoy a wide variety of activities and living services with all large first-floor apartments, private screened-in patios with beautiful park views, daily dining room meals, free laundry facilities, 24-hour staff, and so much more. Enjoy safe, comfortable independence at a very affordable price. Call today for a tour and learn how you can get your first month's rent free. Hilltop Village Apartments, retirement living at its best.
Did you miss a phone number or website? Then here's your second chance because we're going to list all that information again. Then we'll be back to address Medicaid changes affecting your home sweet home. We've talked before about the Medicaid program and the harsh rules for qualification. Completely new rules just went into effect August 1st, 2016, the first big changes in 10 years. Some of the changes were expected and some we never saw coming and are pretty disastrous. Here to discuss these changes is my law partner, Mike Solomon.
Hi, Lori.
So tell us, why did Medicaid change all these rules in August?
Well, many years ago, Ohio decided to decouple Social Security, Disability, and Medicaid. the idea of making it a little bit harder to qualify for Medicaid. But what happened was they needed more caseworkers to handle all that extra paperwork and monitor the monthly medical expenses. So they decided to recouple that. And what's happened is by recoupling it did make it easier. First of all, it changed the rules a lot. And for some situations, it made the new Medicaid rules harsher than they are right now.
Oof, that sounds bad. So give us an example.
Well, let me use a house. Okay, so if you're a single person, you own a house, and all of a sudden you need to go to a long-term care facility, your house was exempted for 13 months, and you could qualify for Medicaid immediately. And then you had to put the house in the market, and then it was exempt for that entire period. Now, then when eventually the house is sold and the proceeds would have to be used, you'd be disqualified at that point. Now, under the new rules, the house is no longer exempt from day one, so you can't qualify for Medicaid while you own the home.
Wow.
And if you can't sell the house that quickly, that could be a problem. So that's the new rule.
And if you don't have any money, and that's why you're on Medicaid, that's a huge problem. It sounds unfair, kind of even sounds counterintuitive. I mean, how can they force you or force an asset to be counted against you if you can't actually access the money? Is there some protection, though, available for the house yet?
Well, there's one special rule that if you sign in, a document saying you intend on returning to the home, then that home is exempt for life. Now, that may seem easy enough, but what happens if the person becomes incompetent before this happened? Who can sign for them? Or after they sign the paper, later on something happened, makes it clear they're never going to be able to come back to the home. So you've got those issues. And then if you do qualify for the exemption, even if you qualify, later on when you pass away, all the Medicaid that you've used is going to go against that house or any other asset you have, and the state's going to get all that back, so your family's not going to get anything anyway. So
it seems like they're giving you this big, perk, but it really doesn't make any difference. They're going to take it anyway, it seems like. That seems so unfair. What is there something we can do?
Well, there's no easy answer to this, but what you need to do is sit down with someone who specializes in this area, an elder law attorney, someone who knows this stuff, not just anybody. I know you do that. You do a lot of that. So you need to sit down with someone, figure out your plan in advance. Make sure you know what you're doing. All right.
We knew Medicaid was arbitrary and harsh, but these new rules just take the cake. You need to arm yourself with information and plan now for the future. For more information, call Mike. The number is next.
Call Solomon, Steiner, and Peck at 1-888-236-5173 for more information or to schedule a speaker for your organization. Or log on to www.ssnplaw.com.
Thanks for joining us. On next week's show, we've got lots more great information. In particular, we're going to focus on a unique exhibit that frames the civil rights movement through photos. Plus, a recent Medicaid lawsuit and Medicare lawsuit could affect millions, but in a good way, and we'll explain that. And where does your candidate stand on Social Security? Well, AARP asked, and we have the answers. Until then, please remember to make the most of your golden opportunities.
If you'd like to join our kitchen conversation, visit our website, www.goldenopportunities.tv. Like us on Facebook. Call us at 440-742-GO-TV or email us at kitchen@goldenopportunities.tv. We'd love to hear from you.
Golden Opportunities is paid for by Elder Productions.